If there is an equivalent of the Academy Award in high performance computing, it's the Ken Kennedy Award. And this year's recipient is my next guest. Welcome to SC21 TV. I'm your host, Charla Bokikio. We are live at the SC21 TV news desk this week, meeting leaders and influencers in the world of supercomputing. I'm here now with David Abramson, the 2021 Ken Kennedy Award winner from the University of Queensland, Australia. Welcome, David.
Hi, great to be here.
Have you been to St. Louis before?
I have not.
What do you think?
I haven't got outside yet.
Right. Well, you have to see the arch when you're
That's
here.
what everyone tells me.
It's beautiful. Truly, it is a nice little walk over there. So,
I'll do that.
If you have a moment. So, before we talk about your award, let's get to know you a little bit. What do you do at the University of Queensland?
I run a centre. It's a university-wide centre called Research Computing. And we sit between any research and advanced infrastructure like what you see around the show floor here.
Awesome.
And we help people do better things with their science or their arts or whatever.
Doing better things is always a positive.
Yeah.
I like that. So in addition to your role there, you're also a leader at the SC conferences and here at SC21. Can you tell us a little bit about that, your role in leadership here?
Yeah, so this year I was running the technical papers track. So the papers that have been presented this week have all been through a pretty rigorous review process.
Yeah.
We have a couple of hundred people helping us review papers. And just managing that whole process on a global scale has kind of been challenging, especially through COVID.
Right. What's the process like in the year leading up to the conference?
So people submit their papers around January time. Mm-hmm. Then they go through a rigorous review process. They're sent out to 4 or 5 reviewers each. Mm. We gather those all back. Then there's a committee meeting and we discuss which ones are going to go through to the next phase. So it's a multi-phase thing.
And you're all communicating virtually during this
And so
process.
That's right. So we rely on the computing systems. Normally there's a meeting actually in June on site. This year we didn't do that.
Right.
So we held that one virtually. That's kind of interesting when you're at the other side of the globe and you're up at midnight.
I'm sure. Yeah, just coordinating times can be a challenge.
Well, it's impossible, isn't it?
And yeah, it really
across
is.
the globe.
Somebody's going to have to.
Someone gets the short straw.
It's going to be the middle of the night for somebody.
Right. So the good thing about being the chair is that I said I'm not getting the short straw this time.
There you go. It has its benefits.
That's right.
So now about the Ken Kennedy Award. First of all, congratulations on that. Yeah. Tell us about the award and what it was like getting that award this year.
Yeah, it's huge. It really is.
Yeah. So tell us what it means and why it's
well, so Ken Kennedy was a luminary in HPC and was known for his technical work and also his sort of mentorship of others. So to sort of get told, yeah, you're doing okay in those two aspects, which are not necessarily aligned, it's a huge buzz. Everyone's very excited, including me.
Oh, I'm sure.
Yeah. So
when did you find out about it? And
I can't remember the exact day that I got an email, but it was some months back.
Okay, so you've known.
I had to keep it under wraps for a little while until the press release was done and whatever else.
Excellent. Well, that's very exciting, and
it is.
I'm happy for you. So you're being recognized, obviously, for your contributions to computing tools, some involving quantum chemistry. And you've also been cited for mentoring in HPC. Why is mentoring in particular a priority for you?
They're the future, right? I mean, old guys like me, we're the past.
No,
so
you're the present.
Well, the nice thing about working in university is that gap between the younger generation and yourself, you like to think it's actually not that big. I'm sure they look at me as one of the older people, but it's just about trying to help people come into the field, see the potential, the opportunities.
Yeah.
So working with undergraduates and then actually even through into the high school system. Just, I remember being sort of given a leg up in by someone once, and it makes a big difference.
It really does in any field.
Yeah,
I think
that's right.
mentorship is so
I think
important.
mentorship is just critical in
In
this whole
general,
thing.
yeah. So you remember a mentor of yours?
Yeah, quite a few different people who have different, nudges in different directions.
Right. And if you're paying attention at that age and listening to the people that know better, you can really learn a lot.
Yeah, I suppose the trick is for them to do it in such a way that you don't realise they're nudging you, right?
Right, because you don't want to take advice at that age.
Heaven forbid you should take advice from someone older.
Oh boy.
But from my point of view now, it's really exciting to see what some of these people then go on and do.
Yeah, I'm sure.
I mean, just tremendously exciting.
It fills you with a little bit of pride,
Yeah,
I'm sure,
that's right,
as a
absolutely.
mentor.
Yeah.
So, how long have you been coming to SC?
A long time. Early 90s.
Okay.
And not quite every year, but certainly, I can't remember how many I've been to across that time, but it would be a lot. It's always in this week of November. Mm-hmm. I have 3 daughters and a wife, and they've always suffered that I'm away. And one of my daughters actually has her birthday on the 14th of November every year, believe it or not.
Yeah, right.
And so SC, sometimes I'm there, sometimes I'm not. But I've been to a lot of the conferences.
Did you participate last year in the virtual conference?
I did.
I'm curious what your advice to people in when they're thinking about, do I attend, now that we have the hybrid, do I attend in person next year? Do I just do it virtual? What would you say?
Look, the buzz of SC in particular, there's sometimes 15,000 people here, is huge.
Yeah.
And so it's pretty high bar to try and do better than that. I think the last year virtual, we did the best we could. Mm-hmm. I actually was chairing the plenary panel, and we did, I think, quite a good job of that. But just managing the time zones,
Yeah.
it's very hard to do that. And hybrid also is difficult. So I think there's a lot of what we do during the year that virtual is just fine. Mm-hmm. My group hasn't been on campus for nearly 2 years.
Right.
We're doing fine, right, by and large. But a conference where you bump into people in the corridor and have that sort of ad hoc chat, that's what you get out of it, or go around the booths around here and actually speak to people.
And that can't be replicated.
It just doesn't, we do the best we can, right? You do what you can, but I think the real event is definitely worthwhile. But if you can't get there, hybrid's got to be better than nothing.
Right. At least we have that option now.
I think the trick with all of these virtual events is to make it more than just watching a YouTube. Mm-hmm. Because, how many times have you said, I'm going to watch that video and never get around to it?
Right.
So when you don't have the template, I think that's the challenge. But
that connection key of just,
But we're very lucky, this community kind of invented this technology that we're all using.
Kind of interesting.
So at least, they say we're eating our own dog food.
It's very funny. So you made a journey all the way from Australia, so people don't have excuses, right, to not attend in person.
Absolutely not, right.
You can, endure that 13-hour plane ride.
I've been to the States so many times over the years. I think there's maybe 1 year where I didn't actually come. Right. And sometimes it's 2 or 3 times. So I've kind of worked out a formula of when you sleep, when you don't sleep.
Yeah, that makes sense.
And so I don't regard, if I go to the West Coast, I don't regard that as a particularly big hop anymore.
Yeah.
Europe's a lot further from Australia than the US.
So is there anything on a personal level that you're looking forward to at the conference this week? Any highlight?
Well, I'm getting an award, I guess.
Right, other than that, I suppose. Yeah, that's
it's catching up with colleagues and friends, right? Mm-hmm. I mean, a lot of these people I've known for years. Yeah. So just catching up on what they're doing, both socially and technically. That's what you get over a cup of coffee or a beer. Right. We're all trying to do beer o'clock on Zoom. It kind of works, but it's not the same, is it?
It is not the same.
And, the technical meetings around the show floor let us see what's happening now.
Yeah.
So,
one last question. Well, two questions. First of all, is there anything else you wanted to mention about the conference or about what you're working on? Any projects that are exciting coming up in the future?
No, look, the talk I'm giving tomorrow is something I'm passionate about at the moment because I've managed to pull together the reasons I got the King Kennedy Award, all the things we've been doing with what we think is important in how you do research. Yeah. So there's a thing called translational medicine you might have heard of. And we're trying to apply some of those ideas to computer science.
Interesting.
So we're calling it translational computer science. So that's what my talk tomorrow is on, if people want to come along.
So that's your tease. So what's the elevator speech if you want to get people to come to listen?
Well, translational medicine is about not just doing research, but applying it in translation, right? Trying it out. And sometimes we do that in computer science, but sometimes we don't, and it's much more ad hoc. So I'm going to talk about how we can make that a little bit more routine if people want to do it, and what they might think about and what the problems are and why it's not being done and why it's hard. So yeah, there's your elevator pitch.
Okay, sounds good. On a very personal note, what did you want to be when you grew up, when you were young?
I always dabbled with computing.
Really?
So from the beginning. So
you were destined for computing.
So I had a father who was an MD, and he tried to talk me into medicine, but I didn't like all that blood stuff and whatever else. So
now you can use your powers for good in medicine.
Absolutely. It's all in silico. It's all virtual.
There you go. Well, sounds good.
Yeah.
Well, it was a pleasure talking to you so much, David. Have a great week this week, and for the rest of you, you need to stay tuned for the latest in high-performance computing from SC21 TV. Make sure to follow us on Facebook, subscribe to our YouTube channel, and plan to attend SC22 in person next year in Dallas. I'm Charla Bokikio.